All right, you are now tuned in to the Rotated Views podcast. I am your host, Jimmy Lee Velez. I'm here with Gabe, Goose, Manny, and the man of the hour, Kyle Pratt. Ante Up. In this episode, we have special guest Kyle Pratt, owner of Ante Up Graphic Supply. We cover topics that range from graphic supply industry, online sales, email lists, competition, and much more. We wrap the episode up with quotes from Jim Rohn and Winston Churchill. Guys, if you're new, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to download and subscribe. We drop a new episode every Tuesday morning for your listening pleasure. Kicking things off, Kyle, welcome to the Rotated Views podcast, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so for those of us who do not know exactly who you are, explain to us who you are and what you do.
Hi, my name's Kyle. I run Ante Up Graphic Supply. And basically what we do is we sell heat transfer vinyl and adhesive sign vinyl to anybody who has a vinyl cutter or any interest in making their own decals, T-shirts, signs of any sort. So we provide all that material to anybody who wants it, basically.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So the shirt you have on, right, the hoodie you have on, is that made by supplies from your shop?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, this is a strip flock heat transfer vinyl. What actually feels like suede. So there's all different kinds of materials you can get into.
Wow, you just got really fancy on us. On that.
Yeah.
I'm going to touch it.
So
that's pretty neat. That's neat.
But you separately, like obviously like the hoodies and all that other stuff, you get on your own, or you also sell that?
We do not sell any blank material.
Okay.
Like we just sell the vinyl material.
The actual
I mean,
vinyl.
we do have a couple little blanks in the store, but mainly it's just the materials for people to cut themselves.
Okay.
So basically, you need a vinyl cutter.
Okay.
And you can get them for $300.
Okay.
And then plug it into your laptop or your desktop, and then start cutting your own designs, pressing your own shirts.
Right.
Wow. All right, boys. Up.
All right, there you go.
We might be
new revenue stream. Here we
linking
go.
up with Kyle here. All right, so let's rewind it back for us all. How did you get actually started in the business?
All right, deep breath here. So
about a month ago.
Yeah. So I guess it was 2007, 2008. I actually started screen printing T-shirts.
Okay.
And I was screen printing T-shirts with the whole screen printing setup, and then I got a vinyl cutter and got into cutting vinyl, decals, shirts, signs, anything I could. And I kind of steered away from the screen printing. And so for years I was doing that. And then I came across a Facebook page, and people were asking for leftover scraps from the signed vinyl, and cool. I had leftover scraps, bins of it that I just wasn't using. So I started bagging it up and selling it, and it just kind of took off. So anytime I had scraps, people would message me, and I'd just send them a little invoice, and they'd send it out. And then people started messaging me, oh, do you have this color? If I had it in stock, I'd cut them a piece, and I'd send it to them. And I was just like, maybe if I build a website, then this can take off.
Yeah.
So I built a little website, started putting colors up, and then it took off a little bit. Had a good Black Friday. That was 2015. Then we had an end of the year sale, and it just blew up. Like,
really?
It was crazy. Thousands of orders out of nowhere. Wow. Like, all of us in our basement, no sleep for like 2 weeks trying to get these orders out. Yeah. So we saw a real demand for the market, and we started bringing in more colors. And then after that, it was like, okay, what else can we do? All right, we need T-shirt vinyl. So we brought in the T-shirt vinyl, and then it just started going from there. And this was all in the basement of our house.
Yeah.
And, we took over the basement, the shed, the garage, and, that kind of stuff.
That's awesome.
And then people wanted to come to the house to buy it, and I was like, I got a dog. I don't want people, people are.
Yeah.
So then we got a little store in Morrisville, and we started selling out of there. And then we moved to the
So what's
warehouse.
little? Hold on. What's little? When you say little, what's little?
700 square feet.
Okay,
so,
little.
Wow.
Little.
Yeah, it's little.
Yeah.
It was just, when you walked in, it was like the register and like two tiny racks. And it was like 40 colors, you know what I mean? And it was little. And then we've been super fortunate that everybody's, the word of mouth is great. We don't do a whole lot of advertising. And then we had that shop for about 6 months, and then we got another warehouse to move out of the house. So then we had a warehouse and a store, and then things were getting big, and then the store kind of took off. More and more people started finding out about us. The store we maxed out on that. So last November, we moved into a 4,000 square foot space with the warehouse and the store attached to each other.
Nice.
Yeah, and then we really expanded our inventory and brought in different stuff. So things have been great, crazy, and they've been great too. I mean, yeah, it's wild.
So when you first started screen printing, what was the deal with that? Why did you venture away from that? And also, where did the name come from?
Okay, so I got away from the screen printing because I hated the ink. I hated the ink, the chemicals, and I was doing it out of my house, so the tub turned into the washout tank. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with screen printing ink, but it doesn't dry.
Right.
So if you get something on something, 6 months later, you touch it, it's still wet. It's just, you know what I mean? Like the cat's got it. So once I got into the vinyl, I was just like, all right.
Much cleaner.
It's easier. Like you buy it. There's no cleanup. That kind of thing. Now, as far as the name goes, I at the time, we were just making stuff for decals and things for people, and there wasn't really a business. I was working another job at the time.
Sure.
So I was listening to a band named Bane, and they have a song called Ante Up. Okay. And one day I was like, I'm going to make all these Ante Up stickers. I'm just going to put them all over everything. So I made all these decals that said Ante Up, and they went on the car, they went on computers, everything in the house just said Ante Up all over.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, we need a name, and it was everywhere. So I'm like, all right. So the original name was Ante Up Decals.
Okay.
Because that's all I was doing was just little decals. That was kind of my, what I was capable of doing at the time.
Right.
And then once I expanded into doing bigger signs and things like that, I'm like, well, decals is kind of like, little. I need to let people know that I can do bigger things. So I'm like, all right, I'll just change it to Ante Up Graphics. That was easy. Yeah. So we just started rolling with that for a while, and I was selling, whatever I could, the signs, the vehicle lettering, and all that kind of stuff. And then when we transitioned to selling the materials, I'm like, just throw supply on the end. So it just turned into Ante Up Graphics Supply.
Of the name. That's great.
So there was no real thought behind it.
Sure.
It was just
the name evolved with your business.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of good too, because I don't know where I'm going to be. How quickly that was 2015 or 2019. How big we spread. Yeah. I don't know what I'm going to be doing in 10 years. I might be selling plumbing parts. So I could change it to Ante Up Plumbing Supplies. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think I'm going to go that route.
Just keep adding words.
Yeah. Exactly. But it's just kind of like that blank, name, like Google. No one knew what Google was.
Sure.
So it's kind of that kind of mentality there.
I like it.
That's great.
Cool. So what are some of the items that you actually sell? I know you mentioned the heat transfer.
Yes. Okay. So there's two main types of vinyl. There's the heat transfer vinyl, or HTV for short, and then there's adhesive vinyl. So the heat transfer vinyl is anything that's going on clothes.
Okay.
And that has to be applied with heat transfer.
Sure.
And then there's the adhesive vinyl that goes on windows, cars, things like that. So then you can break it out even further. There's the heat transfer vinyl, and then we talked about the strip flock, which is kind of like, the suede material. And then there's holographic, which is like, the shimmery kind of stuff. There's glitter vinyl. That's
your favorite.
Yeah. I sell a ton of it. It's absolutely my favorite.
I would too. Hey, whatever works.
Yeah. And then there's stretch heat transfer vinyl that stretches with clothing. So if you have like spandex or leggings, and the stretch goes on that. And then there's brick, which is a lot thicker material that goes on like hats and things like that. So
did you know about all these different types of vinyl, or was it like once your business started to evolve, you kind of had to learn on the fly type thing, or did you know about all this stuff already?
So that's an interesting question, because one of the things that I do now is I'm super into educating people that come into the store about all the different materials and how to use it and how make sure they're doing it right.
Right.
And it's been so long, I don't really remember a whole lot of like the frustration behind it, but I'm sure there was a huge frustration of learning, and a lot of things I learned as I brought in materials as well.
Definitely.
But yeah, most of it was as people requested it. I'm like, what is this? Let me look into it, learn it, get it, bring it in. Then I got to educate myself on it.
Right.
We're super into the education of it, because like if you guys walked into the shop, you would be like, I have no idea what any of this is.
Exactly.
You'd walk out with white and black because that makes sense to you.
Right.
And you'd leave. But I want to get in there and make sure you guys know everything that's involved,
Absolutely.
everything that happens. That way you can, make things good.
Good marketing back there.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
So you sell. So on your site you have that you also sell tools. What tools do you sell? And what are they used for?
So we sell squeegees.
Okay.
Squeegee tools, and they're for applying adhesive vinyl decals. So there's a two-step process. You have to apply the transfer tape to the vinyl and then apply the vinyl to a window, or we'll just say window.
Yeah.
And when you're applying it, if you use the squeegee, then you're less likely to get bubbles and look more professional. All the bubbles come out anyway, but it looks better.
Yeah.
Things like that. And in the store, we have other things like weeding tools to help you weed out the materials after you cut them. There's a whole process there. Things like that, just to help make your life easier.
Yeah, definitely. Now I know we had on Julius from Noble Nation. That's how he recommended us to Ante Up and said Kyle opened up his doors to me just getting started. Now I know that's like a kind of a specific scenario where he says he kind of like works out of there when you guys allow or there's timing for it. What kind of crafters do you guys come to your business? Is it more clothing? Is it more of one thing than the other, or is it just bigger businesses?
It's a mix of both, or there's probably a bunch of different businesses that would come through. So there's the crafter.
Yeah.
Now the crafter is somebody who has the machine at home and they want to make stuff for whatever reasons, just to craft at home. Like think of it like people scrapbook at home. You know what I mean? Right. So they'll cut vinyl decals at home and they'll make shirts for their kids or their grandkids, and
they're
not.
Is there a lot of people like that?
Yeah.
There really is.
Yep.
You know what? Like on social media, I see a lot of people making their own like Disney shirts, and then their kids are in sports, and they put the little last names on the back.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you go to Disney now and you show up without a custom shirt,
it's a faux pas, man. It's
exactly.
like no good.
It's a parent fail.
Exactly. So there's the crafter that comes in, and then there's people who are crafters but also want to sell things, so they want to have enough sales just to fuel their craft. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to sell enough shirts just to make my own stuff. And
that makes sense. Yeah.
And then there's people who are like, I don't want to work for anybody. I'm going to sell my own stuff. So then they take custom orders. There's a lot of businesses that run through my business that do custom work. And that's all they do is they just take custom orders for people who can't make the shirts but want the Disney shirts. They go to them. They come. So that person comes to us to buy the material, and then they do that. So speaking of that, there's tons of people that come into my shop, and everybody thinks the market's saturated, and it's really not. People come into my store and they're like, I'm not going to sell anything. And next week they're like, I have so many orders, I don't know what to do with myself. It's crazy. So there's those type of people. Yeah. Which is fantastic. And then there's other people we have a lot of people who want to run their own T-shirt brand. Yeah. But they were paying somebody to make the shirts, and then they were waiting on the shirts, and then they didn't know what to do with the 100 shirts that they had to buy because there was a minimum, and or that line that they put out didn't work. Right. So they want to test the market. They want to make 10 shirts see if it works. So there's a lot of guys and girls with clothing lines that come in, buy the material, put out their own clothing line, see what works, and then when it picks up.
That's cool. I like that. So do you have any repeat customers? Is there a company or a crafter that just comes in on a monthly basis or whatever it is?
We have people that come in several times a day.
Wow.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Now if you have someone coming in several times a day, is that someone who does not know how to manage what to order and how much to order? No, seriously.
No,
that's a great question.
That is a good question. I think that's a cash flow problem for them. Yeah. Where they're taking the order, they're getting the money, they're buying the material, they're making the shirt, and they're getting the money. They don't have enough money. There's not enough meat on that bone for that one shirt to go buy a bunch of material. They're just doing manageable increments. Exactly, and that's usually what happens twice a week. They come in, and then eventually they'll come in, they'll go, you know what, I just need to buy a bunch, and then do it. So that's a natural progression of it. And then there's other people who are like, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to drop some money, and then take it home and flip it. Yeah. But I think it's easier for a lot of people to understand the money when they get the money, buy the materials, make the shirt, sell the shirt, or give the shirt. You know what I mean?
Right.
That kind of thing. So it's all how that person's geared.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Do you have any businesses that you actually, give credit to? Like, or is anybody big enough where you're like, I'm going to drop $5,000 to $6,000 and they'll pay you, net 30 or whatever the case is?
No, not really. We haven't crossed that path yet. It's not something that we're against. We just haven't crossed it. We do a lot of open POs with schools.
Oh, okay.
Because a lot of schools want to buy stuff for their classrooms and things, but the way that schools are set up is they have to have that open PO and then pay it in 30 days or whatever. So we do that, and schools are good for it.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
You know what I mean? So
yeah, that's awesome. So your website, it's pretty cool. I like it. You have an educational piece on there. Do you actually sell anything from your website, or is it? Because we talk a lot about the brick and mortar portion of your business. Are there online sales, or is it just people coming to the shop?
A lot of our orders come from online. So we ship everywhere in the world. Most of our orders come from the United States and Canada just because shipping's crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
So it makes sense for, in the country to have most of our sales. But that's where we started. Most of our sales were online, so we continue to do that. We have customers all over the country that repeat order from us. One of the things that we saw very early on was people don't want to wait for their stuff. I mean, I'm the type of person that orders something and then I'm at the door like, why isn't it here?
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm the reason that Amazon was built because I want that stuff instant, especially if you're crafting, because you might be in the moment and you're like, I need this right away. And if it takes 2 weeks to get to you, by the time you get it, you're done with that project. You know what I mean? You're like, I'm not interested in this anymore. What was I doing with this?
It's come and gone, absolutely.
Exactly. So one of the things we strive for is to have very quick shipping so that way people don't have to wait, because waiting it's just the worst.
Brutal.
Yeah, it is. It really is, especially when you're making something, or you have an order. Somebody comes to you and they say, hey, I want 20 shirts. And you're like, wow, I can make some money off of that. And then they tell their customer, oh, it'll be here in a week. And then we don't ship it for a week. Then they look terrible and we look terrible. So that's why we have a 2 p.m. cutoff. So if you order 2 p.m. before 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, then your order gets shipped out that day. And with priority mail through the post office, most anywhere in this country is 1 to 3 days. So you can't beat that.
No.
So who are you guys dropping the orders off, or how's that work? So you're saying before 2 p.m. or do you have an automatic pickup?
We have an automatic pickup. They just come every day around 4 o'clock and we fill the truck up and then they take it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's funny because when we first started, we'd load up. We'd have 3 packages. We'd go drive it to the post office. It was exciting, and then it was like, wait, we can't fit them in the van anymore. So shipping was a nightmare when we started. We didn't know what we were doing. We were overpaying, shipping things wrong. Box sizes wasn't right, but over time we figured all that out to make that cheaper for everybody else. And, everybody wins. And, it's satisfying. You order at 10 o'clock in the morning, and by 4 o'clock, you got a tracking number in your email automatically. And,
and even if you don't get it for 3 days, just having that tracking number makes you feel good. It really does. It really does.
Yeah, exactly. Because then you can track it along the way, and then you can call and be like, why isn't
you can be a creep about it. Where's my stuff?
Yeah, exactly. I'm that guy. Like, why isn't it moving? That's one of the toughest things at Christmas time, because believe it or not, the post office doesn't actually scan everything at Christmas. So it'll be like shipped, delivered.
Wow.
So there's no update in between, huh?
Yeah, and you can't blame them. Think about how many packages the post office is doing.
But, So is that something you set up with the post office? How does that work? How do they know to come to your business?
So actually anybody can do it. You can go to USPS.com and just say, I want to pick up tomorrow. You can't do it for the same day, but you could just put in there, I need to pick up tomorrow, and estimate how many packages, and they'll come.
Wow. Okay.
It is pretty simple.
Yeah, and you can set, we set it up like a year in advance. We just click all the days for 365 days, and they just start showing up.
Yeah.
And then after that, they just come anyway because they know.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's good.
I have a question. With you providing that service, getting it out that same day, right? That's a special service you provide. how do you do your warehousing? Like, you didn't know that from Jump Street, right? If your business kind of evolved, did you know, how do you categorize that? Is it a certain amount of hits on certain vinyls, or is it just kind of, I mean, don't give me your secrets. You know, obviously, don't give me your secrets. But, I mean, it's kind of interesting to see how you went from 700 square feet and jumped all the way to a warehouse.
Yeah, so fortunately for me, I come from a warehousing background. That's what I did, drive forklifts, you know, those kinds of things. So warehousing always made sense to me, you know, sorting it out that way. So when you pull an order, you go from one end of the warehouse to the other. You don't end up going back and forth all over.
Yeah.
So that was something we knew very quickly that we needed to figure that out before we scaled out. So that way when it did come, it would make sense to us. And so we built the warehouse that way, and then inventory's crazy. Inventory is something we're still struggling with.
Yeah,
it's
it's
like,
tough, right?
You know, you have a color sitting on the shelf and you're like, this doesn't move. And then a day later, you're like, wow, we sold all that. Like, you know what I mean? So it's one of those things that, you know, we're always looking to improve on and, you know, get better at. And that's just the nature of the business. If you're not getting better, then you're failing, you know. So with the warehousing aspect of it, we set it up so it's pretty simple, pretty clean. Check orders twice, that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So for your actual inventory, I'm not, you don't name drop or anything, but are you guys using the same companies you always did, or the same company to get your actual supply, or is it just something that you just manageable where?
No. Yeah, we have the same vendors.
Okay.
We buy from consistently.
And you said vendors, so each one sells different items? Is that how it works?
Yeah, so we have a heat transfer vendor, and then we have an adhesive vinyl vendor. And then like the little things like the squeegee is another vendor, and then like the little odds and ends stuff is little vendors. But mainly the adhesive vinyl that we sell is Orcal brand, so we buy direct from Orcal, and then the Caesar we buy direct from Caesar. So we know that it's the good vinyl, and we're not constantly searching out.
Sure. Now, I did see that, you know, you're saying that you're an authorized seller of these top brands in vinyl. Is that something that's like worthy of promoting because specific people are looking for these brands?
Yeah. So,
or like, what's the benefit of being an authorized seller?
Okay. So when you have some heat transfer vinyl in front of you, there's no like distinctive marks on it for what brand it is. So you could have a knockoff from China, and then you could have the Caesar brand, which we sell, and they'll look pretty similar. Obviously, the Caesar brand that we sell is the best. And the stuff from China is hit or miss. So a lot of companies set it up to have the reseller badge. Like, you can contact Caesar and say, hey, does Ante upsell? Do they buy the stuff from you? And they'll say, yeah.
Wow, okay.
They buy it from us. That way they know they're getting what they want and what we're promoting, and we're not trying to sneak in other stuff and putting their badge on there and saying it is what it is.
So is this like a distributorship, a dealership? Like how you're set up with them?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have sale items on your website. How does that work? Is that just like overstock, or like stuff you said, just whatever doesn't move?
So there's different things that we run sales on. Sometimes we just have sales to have sales because sales are fun. And then, you know what I mean? Then we also do things like we bundle packs together. Like, okay, so for 4th of July, we'll put 3 colors of glitter, red, white, and blue, and 3 solid
this dude
colors.
loves glitter.
Yeah. Hey, man, I make good money on that.
Absolutely.
So we bundle different color packs together like that to, you know, so 4th of July is coming up, we'll bundle those colors together because people are going to buy those colors anyway. We discount them at a price, bundle them together. People have, you know, they can make more money for the holiday.
Definitely.
We can move some product. It's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
And then there's also grab bags where sometimes the sheets are miscut or the ends of rolls and stuff, and we'll bag them up, and it's kind of like you get what you get, like a pound of heat transfer vinyl for X amount of dollars.
Right.
And
that's awesome.
Kind of like a mix-up.
So, but what's the difference between? So you have this is what it was. You have value packs and you have grab bags. What's the difference?
Yeah, so the value packs are intact sheets, and they have like a theme to them: a summer pack, a rainbow pack.
Oh, got it.
But they're full sheets. Now the grab bags and the other ones are Okay, so a full sheet of heat transfer, for example, is 12 inches by 15 inch.
Okay.
Well, say the end of the roll, we have 12 inch by 8 inches. Well, that's not a full sheet. I'm not putting a listing up for that. I'm just going to throw it in a grab bag.
Got it.
You know what I mean? So it keeps our product listings down and the ease of inventory, and we still make a little bit money on that.
Got it.
On that piece.
Yeah, and it's not wasted.
It's not wasted, and people love them too, because it's like you order it and you get a variety of stuff in there. You might get the strip flock and the glitter and the heat and the regular solid stuff. And
gets the creative juices flowing. It's like, what can I make out of this?
Well, exactly, because a lot of people are like, I don't buy the holographic because I don't have anything I need for it.
Yeah.
But then they get a 6x6 sheet in their pack, and then they're like, I can find something for this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then they throw it, and then they love it, and then they buy more. So.
Nice.
So you're saying, the customers love it, these grab bags and the value packs. You have a high rating, customer rating on the website, 4.9 out of 5 stars. What do you attribute this to?
The willingness to give the education on the materials and how to cut it. So one of the things that happened to me when I got into the vinyl, now when I got into cutting vinyl, it was 2009. Facebook was, nobody had Facebook.
Sure.
There was no groups. There was no pages. So to get any information on, YouTube had 3 videos on cutting vinyl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now you can go on there and there's a million.
Right.
So I did find a forum online, and I started asking questions, and everybody was just like, figure it out yourself.
Right.
And I was just like, I am trying to figure it out myself, but come on, man, just help me out here.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, and I totally understand where they're coming from. They don't want people to know their secrets and those types of things. So one of the things that I'm very driven to do, and my whole team, which is fantastic, is very into educating people on how to use the materials and things like that. So people constantly come back to us for the education, and they believe in us, we believe in them, and we make sure they get their projects done.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anybody can sell the vinyl, but there's a certain value you guys bring with the experience because you've done it before. Now, do you get annoyed? I don't want to say annoyed, it's a bad word, but is it frustrating, like going over the same thing over and over again? Say because you're busy, it's like, oh my God, this guy coming in. I know sometimes a walk-ins is very difficult. That retail setup is tough.
Yeah, there's definitely a level to that where, we can, sometimes we feel that frustration, like, I have videos on this. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I have tons of YouTube videos and like search it out. But at the same time, sometimes it's just better to talk one-on-one with somebody and ask them direct questions like, hey, I tried looking it up, but I don't even know what to search. You know what I mean? So I totally get that. So we'll make the time to give to people that have those questions because it's, you're dealing with a computer program, then you're dealing with cutting, and then you're applying it. And like I said, if you don't know what you're asking, how do you search for it?
Right.
You know what I mean? But if they're pointing at their phone, like, how do I do this? I can be like, all right, I get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can break it down for them.
Right.
So you're big on education. I saw on the website that you guys offer classes. What are the classes? I don't know if you still offer them, but at one point you offered classes. What does a class entail, and who are they for?
So classes is something we've been talking about for a year, and we just started our first batch of classes in February.
Nice.
And they went well. We did some this month. We're going to do some more next month. We're still working out all the logistics, so classes are here and there. Mm-hmm. But basically the ones we have running now are for beginners getting into it. Because I just said, it's sometimes it's difficult to get that information online.
Right.
When you need that hands-on experience. There's still a lot of people out there that can't learn online. Just can't. Right, some people are just not geared that way, and that's totally fine.
Right.
And we're there so that way they can, we have a big TV in our classroom, and I actually project the software onto it, and everybody sits with their laptop and they follow along. So that way they're not just watching me do something and then go home and try and figure it out. They're figuring it out right along with me, and then they can get some real valuable information and the tools they need to get to the next level.
Now, these classes free? Something you provide with if so say you buy X amount of vinyl, or is it something that you pay to go to these courses?
The classes are $40.
Okay.
We try and shoot for an hour and a half. Sometimes they run 2 hours. It all depends. Sometimes we get people in the class and they're super beginners and they don't know anything, so we want to take our time and make sure they go home with something they made and get all that information out. Other times they're a little more advanced and we're zooming through all the information super quick. I try and gear the classes towards the crowd. So if we don't have more than 4 people in a class. That way it doesn't get overcrowded and nobody gets left behind. Generally, it ends up being about 2 people in the class, which is great because then I can say, what's your skill level? What's your skill level?
Yeah, absolutely.
If they're a little advanced, then we skip all that other stuff and get right into it and get to so then they go home with some value,
Right. So you also have, YouTube video. I think it's YouTube videos or a blog that's continuing to educate people on, this industry. Is that something that now is leading into what you now have as the classes? Is that the idea of that, or you just want to put material out there?
I just want to put material out there. Yeah, I mean, we're putting out all the free material you can ask for. We do a Facebook Live video every Thursday night, and we do a different project that you can watch us do. Sometimes the projects we're doing we've never even done before.
Oh, cool.
So it's like, hey, this is the first time. It could be a disaster. We've had some real disasters on there.
I think that's entertaining, though.
It is. Yeah. It's good, and it makes people feel like, oh, well, they screwed it up. It's okay if I mess it up too. So
absolutely.
Yeah, and it's fun, and it gets. Like I said, we have people all over the country, so they get to know us. We get to know them. We chat back and forth, those types of things. So yeah, it's just the blog on the website, just to continue to educate and get the information out there. Sometimes it's 2 a.m, nobody responds to your email. Get in there and find the information and keep going with your project. Yeah. So
that's awesome. Now, obviously, you're a small business. What is it? How did you grow from just, I don't know if it was you and a family member, you and a buddy who started this whole thing, but where are you at now? You have 2 or 3 people on your team, or how's that work?
There's 4 of us.
Nice.
So there's me and my fantastic girlfriend, Amy. She
nice.
runs the whole warehouse, so she's responsible for all the shipping. Absolutely amazing.
Nice.
And then her 2 sisters work for me as well.
This is where the glitter.
Exactly.
It's all coming together, man. It's all coming together.
Yeah. So Sarah works for us, and Colleen works for us, who both are fantastic as well. I could not do this without them.
Nice.
All 3 of them, they are an integral part of the business.
Yeah.
And it started in the basement. It was me and Amy, and then me, Amy, and Sarah, and then me, Amy, Sarah, and Colleen, and everybody has their positions. And everything runs. I mean, we fight.
Of course.
Especially them being sisters and me being the boyfriend of the sister. But fighting's good. We get it out. We move on. We build the business, and things are good.
Good. Definitely.
Awesome.
Now, do you run with having that very tight-knit family and team, do you run any ideas by them? Do they help generate ideas? Is that something where this is mine, you guys have your roles, or is it kind of like you make decisions together, or is it just you and Amy, or is it just, you know what I mean?
We all make they're going to say this is a lie, but we all make decisions together.
Sure. At some level, you're getting their input.
Exactly.
Their eyes are twitching right now.
Yeah.
That's too funny.
But you have to include, like, everybody's a part of the team, you know what I mean? And, like, I know we've had a lot of growth now, but I still believe that we're very small and we're going to grow bigger and bigger and bigger. So I hope that they stay forever and move into bigger roles. Like Colleen runs the store now. I don't think that's her position forever. Amy runs the warehouse now. I don't think that's her. We're all going to move up and hire people, and then so their input is very important to me.
That's awesome. Now, when it comes to the whole education piece, are you the one that's doing the education, and they're just kind of helping out, or they all know the business?
They all know the business. They
that's
all know
awesome.
the stuff. Yeah. It's kind of like you learn the material on accident when you work there.
Sure.
Like, it's just a natural progression. Like when Colleen started, she knew a little bit, but within the last year, she knows everything very quickly, because it's like people ask questions. Well, I don't know. So I'd jump in and she'd listen. So then it's just kind of, everybody knows everything, because it's the nature of the beast, I guess.
Yeah. So having a website, right? Your your store technically never shuts off. But what are your business hours?
Oh, so Monday through Friday, the store is open 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., and then Saturday is 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Real short on Saturday.
Yeah.
I don't expect anybody to work on Saturday, and I don't really want to work on Saturday, so I'm only open 4 hours.
Yeah.
Get in, get out.
And what have you noticed with those 4 hours? Is it beneficial to be open those 4 hours?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Is
crafters. Are they the crafters on Saturday?
Crafters.
The crafters.
Manny's favorite word.
Yeah.
I love the crafters.
Yeah, I mean, if people had their way, we'd be open 24/7. But
Yeah, I mean, you never know when creativity hits, man. So
Exactly.
why don't you open?
Yeah.
Just hit the website, man. Hit the website.
yeah. Well, that's another thing too. You can also place your order online, then have it ready to be picked up in store. So if you're in a
cool.
rush, you can just place it at 2 a.m. and when you know what you want, and then run in on your lunch break, grab it, and go. Or what's another thing to do is you send in the husband who doesn't know what anything is.
right.
They just say the last name.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of times they come in with their phone up. Can you help me? I have a list. And we just go through the list and pull it off for them. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
That's cool. Speaking of the website, so if someone were to order, product on a Saturday night, is it true that it would be Monday where this gets fulfilled, right?
Yes.
Okay, I don't want to. Yeah, we don't want to.
Yeah. So we ship Monday through Friday.
Okay, perfect.
And then we don't ship on Saturdays. So if you place it after 2 o'clock on Friday, it's not shipping until Monday.
Perfect. All right. So on your website, you also have for people to sign up for an email, to jump on your email list. What kind of material you're providing there? Is it just updates? Is it sales, blowout sales, whatever, and it gets shot? And who is it for, really?
So we actually have 2 different email lists. We have an email list that's specifically for people who come into the store, and we have an email list who you sign up for online.
Okay.
Now, the reason we do this, before I get into it, is we don't want to send an email out to somebody in California and says, hey, we got these things for sale in store only. And they'll be like,
right.
yo, what about me? Can't you send it to me? And it's
Right.
like, so to be fair and unfair, I guess, we send out to the store people like, hey, we're doing this, or we have that. And then we have the list on the website that goes to everybody. Now, besides the, we have special in-store sale stuff. They're basically the same. We, sale emails. Hey, we're putting this on sale. Hey, there's a new YouTube video out. Hey, we're going to go live on Facebook. Hey, there's a new blog. Here's some more information. New products. If a product's been out of stock for a while, we'll throw out an email and say, hey, this is back in stock. Things like that to get people, drive traffic back to the website ultimately.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not blasting them with just stuff that's irrelevant.
No. So that was what, when we first started, I was like, I was so nervous to send emails. I was like, people are going to hate us if we send too many emails. 'Cause
right.
I was like, you know how it is. You're like, why are you sending this to me again?
I literally have a trash email where I sign up for things and it's an email I barely even look at. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that I was real nervous about that. And then over time, I'm just like, you know what? If they unsubscribe, they're going to miss out. Let them unsubscribe, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? So you send it out. People who stick around, they stick around. And
how far along in the thought process was it that, I guess, that switch turned for you, where you didn't care anymore?
When the email list was on the smaller side, I was just like, oh my God, I don't want to piss these 17 people off. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's all I got.
Yeah, exactly. Like, let's keep it at 17. Like, shoot for 18 this week.
Yeah.
So then as it progressively grew and people were signing up and I wasn't sending emails because I was scared to send them, it was, unless it was a sale, because everybody loves a sale.
Right.
So that was the only ones. And I'm just like, you know what? People are following us on Facebook, Instagram, they're following us all there. If they're going to get this, they're either going to open the email and unsubscribe, and they're still going to catch it on Facebook. So I'm just going to hit them. If they don't want to be on it, they don't want to be on it. I actually kind of enjoy seeing the unsubscribes now. Yeah. Because now I'm just like, oh, well, they're missing out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's on them.
Yeah,
They're lost,
exactly.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Nice. That's cool. So how does a guy from, coming from warehousing all of a sudden now understands how to put an email list together and is blasting things out? Like, I'm always fascinated with someone who has the technical aspect, even if you don't do it yourself, just to understand, like, this is important for this business. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I guess I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just extremely lucky.
Yeah.
Well, it's weird. Like when I got into screen printing, Like I had to learn Photoshop and Illustrator, and I didn't realize I was teaching myself this huge skill that people pay, they take courses on and stuff. And I'm teaching it myself in my part-time, you know what I mean? Like, so as that progressed and then other things come up, I just picked it up. Like I put the whole website together. I never even thought about it. It was just like, oh, we need a website. Let's figure out how to do that. And then we just did it. And then, okay, emails. Like, you read some blogs on how to send emails and those types of things, but you just do it,
Yeah.
It's kind of like, do I want this to work or do I want to go work for somebody else?
Yeah,
Let me figure this out,
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, because I know email marketing is not the easiest when you're first getting started, but nowadays they have everything's pretty much set up for you.
Yeah.
And especially now you have 2 different email lists. That's cool. Have you speak a lot about sales? Have you ever put out a sale that was like a blooper? Like, all right, that was we didn't make no money on that, or
that
something where it was like,
yeah. Things happen like that. Sometimes we'll rush things and we'll put out a sale, and we like to do things like Friday afternoon, Friday night. That way we can collect the orders over the weekend and we're prepared on Monday.
Makes
Nobody's
sense.
scrambling while the orders are coming in.
That makes sense.
Especially if they order before 2, you got to get it out. You know what I mean? So
right.
That's your guarantee.
those types of things. And sometimes I'll put it out and I'll be like, wow, we got a couple orders. What happened? Then I'll be like, oh, well, we never sent the email or posted it on Facebook. What happened?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, oh, we hit Instagram hard, but we didn't do this. So, take a step back, make sure you have all your ducks in a row, make sure everything goes out.
Yeah.
And it's also tricky too. Like you post something on Facebook today, people might not start seeing it until 2 days from now with the whole thing. So
Right.
Yeah.
people miss it. So it's tricky.
Yeah. So I know you must have learned your lesson with return, and your return policy is pretty firm on there.
Yeah.
And it even says to the point where you guys kind of steer away from exchanges. Can you explain how that came about and why it's important to let's just return your item and then get you a whole other thing instead of trying to trade?
Yeah. So returns are tricky because people say they order $30 worth of stuff. They pay $6.99 shipping, and then we send it to them. They get their $30 worth of stuff. The post office gets the $6.99. I don't get to keep that.
Right.
People think I do, but I don't. The post office absolutely gets that.
Sure.
And then, okay, their order falls through, or they ordered the wrong thing. They didn't receive the wrong thing. They ordered the wrong thing.
Sure.
And they're
Very
like,
big difference.
Yeah.
Huh?
That is.
Because if they receive the wrong thing, we'll absolutely make that right.
Yeah.
But so they order, white. They meant to get black. So then they'll be like, hey, can I return this? And I'll be like, yeah, you can return it, but you have to pay the shipping here, and then you have to pay the shipping back again.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I already paid the shipping. Yeah, well, the post office already has that shipping.
The post office already delivered.
Yeah,
did their
they
job.
did their job. We did their job. They did their job. So it's kind of tricky. So we had to put some things in place to make sure that people understood why we do the things that we do, and it's in concrete.
Yeah.
How difficult is it to get the Amazon mentality away from your business? Because everybody thinks it's free. At least in my business as well. It's like you ship it out once, just send it back, no problem, and it just comes back. And if we ask a question, people are offended. Like,
yeah,
all right, we're trying just to understand why you're returning something. How difficult is it to, I guess, let them understand that they're, we aren't Amazon. We're not on that scale. Is that difficult for you, or is just your policies in place and that's what it is?
It's impossible to get the Amazon mentality out of people.
Yeah.
It's just, that's the way of the world. Everything is instantaneous. I mean, if we wanted McDonald's, we could have it here.
Right.
Yeah.
Like in no time.
Literally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like who would have thought McDonald's would be deliverable?
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
Like, it
A
doesn't
fast food. It's like, this is where we are. Yeah, that's
exactly.
a great.
So that's the and that's not anybody's fault. That's
No, it's
just the way of the world.
That's what the market is. Right.
Yeah. So that mentality is there. It's just something you have to deal with on a case by case situation. One of the reasons that we're big on the live videos and getting our face in front and talking to people and making sure we know their name when they walk in the store and all that stuff, so we can build an actual relationship with them, and we're not just some website that they order from.
Right.
And they might see Kyle at the bottom of the email, like, no, I want you to know who I am, understand that we're real people, understand that we're a small business also, and then we can build that relationship and,
A personal touch.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's cool. So what's your 5 to 10 year vision for Ante Up Graphics? Aside from more glitter, what else?
As he's drinking some water, I love it. Well played.
It's very bright. The future's bright.
Well, definitely more glitter.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, we sell more glitter to guys than girls.
Yes.
Really? Wow.
I believe it.
Yeah.
You should get shirts made to say more glitter. Ante Up. You know what I mean?
So the 5 to 10 year prediction's a tough one for me. I'm always, I want to blow this thing out of the water. I have visions to have warehouses on the West Coast and in the middle of the country.
Nice.
Main reason being to cut in shipping time. Because right now, if I ship to California, it's from here to California. If I have a warehouse in California, I'm already there.
Right.
And then we're both shipping to the middle. So it covers more ground that way. So I'd like to do that for that reason. You know, more stores, more fun, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Besides bigger buildings, more material, larger rolls, you know, bigger classroom. We have a little classroom in the store now. I'd like a bigger one already. Those types of things. I don't really look that far into the future.
Sure.
I know it's going to be big.
Yeah.
You know, that's just the way it is. You know, I'm just driven that way.
Yeah.
So I don't feel the need to plan for it because I know it's just going to happen.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? But yeah, man, bigger the better, all over. I want us to be the one that everybody knows, everybody goes to, everybody can trust. Trust is a big one.
So it's not once have you said anything about money. You genuinely like to deal with people. It seems like the personal interaction you enjoy, and you know, I guess providing this, these supplies for people. You never said once, is interesting. I just kind of never said once anything about money. Just bigger, better, well known.
Well, I'm gonna say it's clear so everybody hears it. If you want to get into vinyl supplies, don't do it for money. Just don't.
Yeah.
People won't shop with you.
Yeah.
They won't.
Yeah.
They just won't. It's just that. I mean, that I could be completely wrong, but
From your experience.
from my experience, people want. I mean, people want to know there's other people doing this stuff. People want to know that there's somewhere they can go and ask questions. I mean, everybody has a question when they come into the store.
Definitely.
It's very rare someone comes in and doesn't have a question. So if you're in it for the money and you're not in it for the people, it's just not going to work out for you.
It's more almost like building a community.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. So, you know, is that your motivation, or what's your overall motivation? Is it to get this bad boy and every single year make it bigger and bigger and expand in that sense? Or is there something gleaming in the back of your mind? I know you say you don't look too far ahead, but
yeah, I mean, just get everybody the information that they need to make this thing happen for them. I mean, we have a ton of, I'm a small business, so I have a ton of smaller businesses coming through.
sure.
And I feel as a small business owner that you need to help other small business owners any way you can, even if it cuts into my bottom line.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes I talk people out of buying my stuff so they can go get screen printed down the street.
Yeah.
Because they're going to make more money at it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not worth it for them to do it in vinyl.
Yeah.
I could talk them into buying more vinyl and make a ton of money on it, but
Sure.
who wants to do that? That's not fun.
So it's a family business, basically, right?
Mhm.
How do you manage the work-life experience? Like, you know, you go home and everyone's still, it's almost the same faces. You go to work, it's the same faces. Is there a dividing line, or is just kind of all intermingled? It's all kind of one big, mixture.
For me, it's all work all the time.
Yeah.
Just wired that way.
Yeah, I think I believe so. I believe I'm just wired that way.
Yeah.
It's just, why not?
Yeah.
No, don't get me wrong. I'll lounge around the couch and watch some Marvel movies. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
but I don't take vacations. I don't take days off.
Yeah.
Okay,
so what do you do on a Sunday?
I'm usually working.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Placing stock orders or...
Yeah, just making sure everything's right. Make sure things are in stock, making sure that we have all the things that we need. Sometimes they'll go into the store and they love it when I go in on the weekend and rearrange everything in the store.
Yeah.
Again, their eyes are twitching again. As you're saying.
Exactly. I'm in the I watch customer behavior and see where they're watching, see what they're not watching all the time, and what things in store aren't selling. I'll move them around, try and sell more items. So, that's typically what I do on the weekends.
That's awesome.
It's fun for me. Like you said, I'm just wired that way, I believe.
Yeah. That's cool. All right, so last question to wrap this bad boy up. What's your recommendation to anyone trying to jump into the graphic supply industry? You did mention, if you don't do it for the, the income or anything or the money, but if someone's trying to get started, whether it's a 15-year-old version of you, what would you tell that person?
I tell them to buy one roll of white heat transfer vinyl and cut it down and then sell it, and then take the money that you made from that and buy 2 rolls. Cut it down, sell it.
Double up.
And continue. That's how we started. $80 investment into 1 roll of vinyl, and
you said an $80 investment. That is wow. If that's not encouraging to anybody, like I don't care.
$80 to 4,000 square feet.
Yeah.
That's so badass.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, we never borrowed any money. We never did any of that crazy stuff.
Yeah. So you just reinvested, continue to reinvest.
Yep.
That's great. That's the only way it's going to grow, right?
Yeah, I feel like if you want to start a business and you take a loan out, then you're working for that loan, and you're not working for yourself.
You're starting off in the negative.
Yeah, exactly. You're starting off in the negative, and you're so concerned about am I going to make enough money to pay the loan this month and all that kind of stuff. Where if you start small and just work your way up with any business, that's just the way it should be.
Very cool.
Well said.
All right, so do you want to plug your social media handles, your website, so people can check you guys out?
Okay, so the website is anteupgraphicsupply.com. Super long, but it happened.
You went there.
Yeah, exactly. Facebook is the same thing, facebook.com/anteupgraphicsupply. Our Instagram is just anteupgraphics. That's pretty much it.
Perfect. Well, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, folks, we're going to wrap up with quotes, and the first one is by Winston Churchill. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to contribute that counts. And the second one is by Jim Rohn. If you really want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse.
Boom.
Ante Up. In this episode, we have special guest Kyle Pratt, owner of Ante Up Graphic Supply. We cover topics that range from graphic supply industry, online sales, email lists, competition, and much more. We wrap the episode up with quotes from Jim Rohn and Winston Churchill. Awesome. Guys, thanks again for joining us. The Rotated Views podcast was produced for self-development purposes. Huge shout out to our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by the Blessed Lifestyle brand. That is BL3SSED.com. Also sponsored by The Motivation Files Unleashed. This motivational mixtape will be your fuel for success. Available on all platforms. Guys, don't forget to visit the website, JimmyLeeVelez.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Rotated Views. If you have any inquiries or questions, email us at info@JimmyLeeVelez.com. On behalf of myself and the rest of the crew, we wish you massive success. Stay blessed.